Yeah, guys, say what's up. Sorry if the lighting and the camera angle may be bad. Um, I'm just about to prepare for bed, but before I do, I wanted to get some of these videos out, and it's kind of why it's fresh in my mind. Um, is get them over with. Uh, I got to talk about CM Punk. Um, CM Punk has been the talk of the wrestling town um, for about a week now. Um, Actually, this I probably say for this entire year, actually, really, um, was the walkout when he walked out on WWE, abruptly, and no one knew why he walked out. He was in silence for months, as to why he walked out and left WWE. Last week, had the podcast with Colt Cabana, said a lot of revealing things, revealed just the reasons why he left the WWE. Um, And then, as if that wasn't shocker enough to a lot of things he spoke on the podcast, it was just announced yesterday, Sunday, that, well, not Sunday, because today is Sunday, the time of me doing this video. Saturday, um, Punk is signed with the UFC. UFC. I have a lot of, I don't know, mixed emotions, things to, say. I can't even calculate my thoughts. Um, CM Punk signed a deal with UFC, and he signed as a fighter. Um, Very interesting. To say this is not interesting would be an understatement. To say the least. I kind of thought some you could. I kind of figured something may have happened. Because CM Punk had a second podcast with Colt Cabana. I believe last Thursday or Friday, he had a second podcast, and he did kind of talk about the UFC a little bit, from what I remember. And then that either that Friday night or that Saturday morning, Dana White was interviewed, and they mentioned one of the interviewers mentioned something about CM Punk to Dana White, and Dana White was like, Dana White made the statement something like, he heard what happened with Punk in the WWE, or he doesn't know much about Punk, uh, of concerning the situation with WWE, but you know, Punk will be here this weekend, and we'll get a chance to talk and see what's available, or what we can offer him, or something like that. And he said, and they asked him who his opponent to be, and he said Punk wouldn't start off, with the top guy right away. He said Brock Lesnar. The difference between Brock and Punk was that when Brock came in the UFC, they gave him, powerhouse stars. They said, but with Punk, his first match coming in, he's going to start off with a guy who's on the same level, and that's a record of 0-0. So basically, saying Punk is going to start from scratch, which should be expected. I mean, it's obvious. Um, so Dana White has said that, like, the day before or the day of, I want to say it was the day of, that morning, on Saturday night, and then, well, Punk is there. Punk announces his 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 deal, his dealings with UFC. Um, you guys know I'm like the biggest Punk Mark fan. Um, he's my number one favorite wrestler of this generation, and I will even put Punk, in a top 10 list as one of my favorites of all time. I will put him up there with like a Rock, Austin, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar. It's like one of my all time favorites. Um, my thoughts on Punk coming to UFC. It's just I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's a great opportunity for him. At least he has something else to do. Since leaving WWE, he can go to um, a different sport or a different type of medium. I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, to say you're going from WWE to UFC, it's nothing to sneeze at. I would say. Um, it's very interesting. As Buffman stuff has pointed out in his video, which I agree, Punk is he is a fan of MMA and of UFC. He's um, talked about that plenty of times. So he's not a guy that comes in and kind of like, oh, I'm going to own this place kind of like thing. He knows the situation and what the seriousness of this profession and what it brings to the table. Um, Now, Punk is an MMA fighter. It'd be interesting. I'll just say that. The one thing that kind of concerns me with Punk is that Punk has had quite a few injuries, in his wrestling career. He suffered a fractured skull. Um, he's had so many other different injuries, and sure, yet he's had all these injuries, and yet he was still able to press forward and move on. In wrestling and WWE, but MMA is a different. It's a different animal. Um, Now, I'm not saying that he can't adapt to the UFC world. That's not what I'm saying because he's a wrestler. I mean, you look at Brock. Brock was a WWE guy first before he crossed over to UFC and dominated the world of MMA and UFC. Um, so to discredit Punk early on to say that he can't do the same, it'd be it'd be ignorant on my part. But it's that's one kind of concern for that I have for Punk, at least in terms of his health and safety. Um, Again, not saying WWE is the most safest job either, because I mean, if you listen to stuff that Punk was saying that they have, like when it comes to the doctors and stuff, horrible, really horrible. Um, I I don't know. What weight division I could see him in? It's both been stuff pointed out, lightweight, because Punk is like what I think Punk's 225, 230. Um, so yeah, he'd be like a lightweight, maybe a bantamweight. Or maybe not a bantamweight. Bantamweight might not work for Punk, but again, it'll be interesting. He said he fights in 2015, so 2015 will be the year that Punk will obviously probably he would train and stuff from now until he has his first fight. Um, so yeah, just gotta wait and see. I'm definitely interested and curious and see where he goes. I think again, it's a very interesting and a good venture that Punk is going off into, trying in UFC. He's got my support. How well he'll do, can't can't say until we see. Already people are kind of bashing, Punk won't last in MMA, and this is the real thing, and kind of the same stuff a lot of people said about Brock, and look at what happened with Brock. Now, can't guarantee the same thing will happen with Punk. And, saying that Punk will dominate the MMA world like Brock did. However, you can't discredit him either and say he's crap or he's going to get hurt or whatever. Or he won't last in UFC or whatever if we have yet to see him perform in a UFC octagon. So, it's just one of those things. Got to wait and see, but it's definitely got my interest in a good way. Um, you guys let me know what you think about CM Punk joining the UFC MMA world. Um, can Punk be? Can he be the best of two worlds? He was the best in the world in WWE. Can he be the best in the world um, in UFC? I think he could do it. You guys let me know what you think. Comment, subscribe. Peace.